For our last segment, it's a bit of a battle between old school versus new school. That's how it feels to me, at least. The current Memphis-Shelby County School Board members are now adding the newly appointed members of the State Oversight Board to their lawsuit. So here's a look at the members of the newly appointed State Oversight Board. These members were chosen by Governor Bill Lee, Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally, and House Speaker Cameron Sexton to basically sign off on all the district's budgetary items, contract agreements, staffing decisions, and district policies. Now, the Shelby County government, the county commission, the school board, and all of its members by name are listed as plaintiffs suing Governor Lee, Commissioner of Education Lizette Reynolds, Lieutenant Governor McNally, Speaker Sexton, and as of today, each individual member of the new oversight board. The plaintiffs are claiming the oversight board is unconstitutional, that it takes power away from what local board members are elected to do, infringes on voters' democratic right to elect representatives, and that MSCS was targeted in the takeover legislation. So, Deidre, you once acted as a little bit of an Olivia Pope for MSCS at one point. I'd like to say. So how does adding the individual members of the oversight board to the lawsuit strengthen their case?
Well, Pepper, I'm going to say, like the philosopher and lyricist Nelly would say, it's getting hot in here. Exactly. I mean, this is, I can see the value in the Shelby County Board of Education adding the oversight committee to the lawsuit. I mean, they made the decision to say yes, unfortunately, and the job that they've been given is to actually do what these elected officials were elected to do. So yeah, I could see that happening, and it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
I will say this, so much for any cooperation between this oversight board or takeover board or however you want to identify them and the existing school board. I mean, the hope was that they could mesh and run the system. That's not going to happen now because they are adversaries. So I'm just going to get some popcorn and sit back and watch this.
Tawan, as the former city council chair and a former school board member, we know there was legislation that they could not use taxpayer funds for this lawsuit. So who is picking up the tab on this lawsuit? Do you know?
I don't know that, but I am glad to see the lawsuit move forward. And I am, I was hoping for the lawsuit because maybe they could explain, the court could explain and define functions and roles for each body. Now, I don't see how an elected board by other people is outcast by an appointed board of a few people. But I see the value of an advisory board to give some input to the elected board, but I don't see them having the power to make decisions over an elected board. So I'm glad that this is going to be discussed in court. Okay. And somebody told me that they nominated me for the board, for the new school board, even though I'm an old school person. And I told that person, number one, I'll never get appointed because I know how outspoken I am, and I'm not in anybody's camp. And number two, I probably would never serve because I do think it is an infringement on the elected board, and I move by principle.
Yeah, there's some additional information. So before the amendment with all the individual members added to the lawsuit, the federal judge had already ordered that this case move to a magistrate judge, and they were supposed to meet, the attorneys for everybody involved are supposed to meet with that magistrate judge. And then also the oversight board already held its first meeting in Nashville, and they named Billy Orgel as the board chair. So,
and I thought that was interesting too.
Okay.
Because a lot of the members of the new board have ties to Memphis City Schools through either service and some decisions that were cited in the audit that people said they didn't like, but now here they are in leadership positions, or they've had contracts with the city, with city school, city and county school system, which would mean they would have to suspend those. There are a lot of blurred lines here, even with past employment of major people who receive contracts, like for health care. And I think our former superintendent was involved in that decision making, and then went to work for Cigna, and then left
Talking
Cigna.
about Dorsey Hobson.
Yes, talking about Dorsey Hobson, and then left Cigna and went to City, the new group that he's with, to look at charter schools. And charter schools is a big issue for Memphis and Shelby County School Board. So there are all kind of blurred lines here that we are really going to have to follow. But welcome to public service to the new board.
Tawan, another thing is, why is it that the payment for this oversight committee, why does it have to come out of the Memphis and Shelby County school budget? I mean, they're going to be paid, if they hire staff, their attorney, all of that has to come through the school system's budget. Why couldn't the state, since they wanted them, why can't they pay them?
Well, that's a question you would have to ask the lawmakers, because I can't understand that one. And at a time when they're talking about how we spend dollars, we spend a lot of money on an audit that was incomplete, that made a decision about a new school board, as well as taking money from the school board to pay for the new school board.
It's a
This
lot.
is ridiculous.
It's a lot.
It's
Now,
ridiculous.
on that note, we are running into time because I knew you all would do such a good job on that. Thank you for watching ABC24 This Week. Please go to 24 Plus, our streaming app, for our bonus segment. But if you don't, thank you for watching this week. We hope you'll join us next week for ABC24 This Week.